Hi, welcome to the Homicide Canada podcast. I'm Phil. I'm a host, and I'm here with my co-host Tami, who's also our producer of our podcast. This is episode number 72, and this is the November Homicide Roundup. So one of our normal monthly roundups of homicide activity in Canada in 2025. So, yeah. And basically, I think, I don't know, maybe you do know, maybe you don't know, we have a website associated with the website, or no, a website associated with the podcast, homicidecanada.com. So basically, yeah, you can go there, and we try to have a page for every homicide that happens in Canada and try to follow along with whatever happens to those homicides, if they make some arrests, if there's some convictions. We're also on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram. I would just go to their search functions and put in Homicide Canada. We should show up. Getting a lot of people following us on Facebook lately, Tami. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Thank
good.
you.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why suddenly now, but yeah, it's doing pretty well. Yeah, we're also on Twitter, homicide_Canada. Email, yeah, we check it a couple times a week. info@homicidecanada.com. So if we've missed a murder and you're in your like where you know there's been one, because sometimes we do. Yeah, you can just hit us up there, or on social media. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into some of the stats we got. So we're recording this, January 2nd.
A little late
A little late, but yeah, better late than never. Holiday season, illnesses, all that stuff. It all gets together. Yeah. So this is basically kind of one of our preliminary counts for the whole year. So we found 571 murders so far, and I'm sure we'll find a few more from 2025, but that's how much we found. That's 389 males we found, 143 females, and then the rest we couldn't find the gender. So that's 571. That compares to the 686 we found last year, or actually 2024. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that when the StatsCan's results come out, that they'll see a decrease in 24 over 2025. We found a homicide rate per 100,000 of 1.37. So Homicide Canada or StatsCan usually, I don't know, basically they usually find 10% more probably than us, I guess. So take that as you will. As I said, female homicides, that's 143 we found. That compares to 198 we found 2024. So it's a decrease, obviously, and a homicide rate per 100,000 of only 0.69. And then for males, 389 we found versus 471 in 2024. So that's a big decrease.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And then that's 1.87 per 100,000. All right. So yeah, we got a preliminary look at the homicide rates for the provinces that we'll do right here for 2025. So for, let's see here. And I got the territories here too for once. So the highest was Nunavut with 12.2, then Northwest Territories with 11.2, then the Yukon was 6.6, and then Saskatchewan was the highest province with 5.0, Manitoba in second, well, for provinces, with 3.5. So yeah, Manitoba, I think last year was the champ.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if champ's the right word, but the one with the highest homicide rate. Yeah, big decrease for Manitoba this year, and Saskatchewan ends up being first for provinces. Then New Brunswick with 1.7, BC with 1.6, Alberta 1.5, Nova Scotia 1.3, Newfoundland 1.3, Ontario 1.2, PEI 1.1, and then Quebec 0.7. All right. I'm also going to go over for 2025, all the city or municipalities that we track. We track obviously the big ones, and then we've been adding smaller places, a little haphazardly, I'll admit, but we're trying to do a better job of it. So for 2025, for the ones that we're tracking, St. John, New Brunswick was highest with 8.58. Then Regina, 4.86. Thunder Bay, Ontario, 4.59. Fourth, Vancouver, 3.93. Then Brantford, Ontario, 3.82. Edmonton, 3.17. Saskatoon, 3.01. Winnipeg, 2.93. Brampton, Ontario, 1.98. Richmond Hill, Ontario, 1.98, both suburbs of Toronto. Longueuil, Quebec, just outside of Montreal, 1.96. Ottawa, 1.87. Windsor, Ontario, 1.74. Halifax, 1.59. Montreal itself, 1.55. Toronto, 1.5. Well, that's interesting. So Montreal slightly higher than Toronto. Hamilton, 1.41. Calgary, 1.22. Kitchener, Ontario, 1.17. Oshawa, Ontario, 1.14. Surrey, BC, 1.06, which is actually, better than the year before, I think. London, Ontario, 0.95. And Vaughan, Ontario, 0.93. I think I don't know if there's another. Oh, there's still more. All right. Richmond, BC, 0.48. Oakville, Ontario, 0.47. Mississauga, 0.42. Gatineau, Quebec, 0.34. Markham, Ontario, 0.3. Laval, part of Quebec, or near Montreal, 0.24. Quebec City, only 0.18. So, pretty low.
Yeah, I actually saw something on the internet that said that Quebec City is the safest city in Canada to visit for foreigners.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so in November 2025, the Canadian homicide rate was down 10% from November 2024. There were 42 homicides versus 47 in 2024. There were 26 males, 14 females, and 2 that are still unknown.
Okay, yeah. So like a decrease. It's been a lot of months, I think, this year where there's been a decrease over the year before. All right. So then, usually we do the oldest and youngest victim for these monthly podcasts. So the oldest was 84-year-old Giovanna Balistrieri. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it somewhat to what it should be. She was killed in a fire, an arson fire in Toronto. So on Saturday, November 15th, 2025, at approximately 11:08 p.m., police were called to a residential fire in the area of Avenue Road and Boswell Avenue. Investigators alleged that the suspect went to the home, deliberately set it ablaze. At the time of the fire, the 84-year-old was alone inside. She was located by firefighters and transported to hospital where she later died from her injuries. Toronto police announced that Curtis Leander McLeod, 34 of Toronto, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Investigators have not shared a possible motive for the incident, and it is not known that the victim knew the suspect. So, it's a kind of an interesting one that, somebody goes up to I guess it's a house and that, and then...
Yeah, I think it was a house.
Yeah,
but
and then...
it is random that they know that it was deliberately set, but don't know the motive.
Yeah, or they're not telling us.
Yeah.
All right, so the youngest victim was a 15-year-old girl in Opaskwayak Cree Nation in Manitoba. So Manitoba First Nations Police Service, MFNPS, the short form, responded to a report of an assault at a home in the Opaskwayak Cree Nation on November 1st, 2025 at around 2:25 p.m. When officers and emergency medical services arrived, they found a 15-year-old girl with serious injuries. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The RCMP Major Crime Services has since taken over the case, treating the death as a homicide. Following the investigation, November 4th, 2025, police arrested a 17-year-old girl from the same community. She has been charged with manslaughter and remains in custody. So obviously, if she's 17, they're not going to name her.
Yeah.
And then the investigation is ongoing with assistance from the Manitoba First Nations Police Services, RCMP Major Crime Services, and the PA RCMP Forensic Identification Service. Now for the number of homicides in November for all the provinces. So Ontario, the most populous province in the league with 11, and Saskatchewan with 10, which obviously
That's a lot.
Has a lot less people than Ontario.
Yeah.
BC with 5, Alberta, Manitoba, Quebec with 4, Nova Scotia with 3, New Brunswick with 1, and then all the other provinces and territories had 0.
And the cities with more than 1 homicide, Edmonton had 3, Montreal had 3, Turtleford had 3, Brampton had 2, Toronto had 2, and Vancouver had 2. And murders by type, there were 14 shootings, 5 stabbings, 3 other, 2 beatings, and 18 that are still unknown or unreleased.
All right, so the domestic murders in November that we know of. So a 73-year-old woman died following an axe attack brought on by her 14-year-old grandson in Saint Julien. I assume that's in Quebec.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Nathaniel Assing was charged with first-degree murder after a 26-year-old woman dies in Windsor, Ontario, and what police are calling a suspected case of intimate partner violence. The third one, Kevin Searcy, was charged with second-degree murder in the death of his wife, 69-year-old Diane Searcy. According to CBC, Diane suffered from severe dementia, and her husband was her caregiver. Number 4, Brampton man Nicholas Jaglal was arrested by Peel Police for secondary murder in the fatal shooting of his father, TTC operator Arnold Joan Jaglal. And then the fifth one, Justin Hack, was charged with the homicide of his mother, Kimberly Hack, in London, Lambton County, Ontario. All right. Now we're on the podcast part where we do the noteworthy murders that happened in November. So the first one, let me just get this queued up here properly. All right. So Edmonton, Alberta police have confirmed that no charges will be laid in connection with a North Edmonton homicide after determining the suspect has since died. So the incident dates back to Sunday, November 23rd, 2025. Around 4:45 p.m., police responded to a welfare check at a home near 157th Avenue and 130A Street. When officers arrived, they found a man deceased under suspicious circumstances. The case was turned over to the Edmonton Police Homicide Section, and an autopsy was conducted on November 27th by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner that determined the victim, 28-year-old Irmia Zergzi, I think that's how you pronounce it, died from blunt force trauma to the head and compression of the neck, I guess, so strangulation. His death was ruled a homicide, and then at a December 3rd update, police announced that the suspect in the case had died, and then as a result, no criminal charges will be pursued. Investigators also confirmed they're not searching for any additional suspects. So I guess we'll never know probably who killed him. So.
Okay, police in Quebec are investigating a tragic case in St. Julien involving the death of a 73-year-old woman. This is the one we kind of talked about earlier. In the early hours of Tuesday, November 11th, just after 2 a.m., the Sûreté de Quebec responded to a home on Chemin Payette. When officers arrived, they found a woman critically injured. According to reports, the weapon used was an axe. She was transported to hospital where she later died from her injuries. Investigators quickly identified a suspect as her 14-year-old grandson. Police say he was located nearby after crashing the victim's vehicle and was taken into custody. The teen initially appeared in court later that same day and was charged with attempted murder just hours before his grandmother's death. Following her passing, the charge was upgraded to second-degree murder, and according to reports, the youth has been ordered to undergo a psychiatric evaluation as the case proceeds.
You know, I happen to think that, there's a lot. If there's an axe, there's a good chance there could be an NCR case.
Yeah, I think so.
And it said she was transported to hospital where she later died from her injuries. So she actually, I guess, lived slightly after an axe attack. Yeah, and a 14-year-old grandson. That's obviously quite sad.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. So Cold Lake RCMP are investigating a fatal shooting at a local trailer park that left one person dead. So I think that's in Alberta. The incident happened on November 1st when police were called to the area following reports of gunfire. Officers arrived at the scene around 8:30 that morning and found that one person identified as Neri Desaulnier had been killed. Police said witness descriptions from the shooting matched an armed man who was later reported trying to break into a nearby home. Less than an hour after the incident, the suspect was taken into custody shortly afterward. During the arrest, officers discovered the man was carrying a loaded firearm, extra ammunition, a taser, and brass knuckles. So he had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
RCMP have not released the suspect's name. They said he made a court appearance in Lac La Biche Provincial Court. And then, according to reports, a man by the same name as the victim was arrested in Bonnyville following a traffic stop in October 2025, along with another person. During the search of the vehicle, police discovered a loaded shotgun, over $6,000 in cash, and a quantity of methamphetamine. They were charged with possession of methamphetamine for the purpose of trafficking, possession of property obtained through crime, and unlawful possession of a firearm. And additional charges involved the careless use of a firearm, failing to comply with the release order, and possessing a firearm while prohibited. So
that's crazy. Like a month before he was in trouble with the police, but not in prison.
Yeah, no, that is kind of wild.
Okay, the next one here. The death of Sherry Shelley is now being investigated as a homicide after her body was found during a vehicle fire in Nanaimo. On Tuesday, December 9th, Nanaimo RCMP confirmed that Shelley, who was 65 years old, had been reported missing on November 14th. That same day, officers responded to a vehicle fire on College Drive where a woman's body was discovered. Police have since determined that Shelley's death was not accidental and treating the case as a homicide. The Nanaimo RCMP Serious Crimes Unit says investigators are committed to finding answers and seeking justice for her family. As part of the investigation, police are asking residents to review their surveillance and dashcam footage. Investigators are looking for images of Shelley's white wagon Tiguan with license plate WN701L. Police are especially interested in video captured between 11 p.m. on November 13th and 3 a.m. on November 14th, along with three possible travel routes from the Dermont area to the College Drive via Parkway, and the Dermont to College Drive using Jungle Pot Road, and from Harwood Road and Lanceville along Old Logging Road to Vid Pond Road. So anyone who may have footage of this vehicle is asked to contact the Nanaimo RCMP non-emergency line at 250-754-2345 with the reference number 2025-36216.
So, yeah, it's interesting that she was reporting missing on November 14th.
Yeah.
And the same day they found a vehicle fire where a woman's body was discovered, and then they didn't confirm until December 9th.
Yeah, like that's a long time.
That's a long
3
time.
weeks?
Yeah, that where she was missing. And like, I think even, I don't know, that even if it was the body was burned badly, you figure that they'd be able to do that, figure it out
Insane.
who's who in shorter than 3 weeks. But I don't know. It just seems a little unusual. All right. So in a shocking incident near Turtleford, Saskatchewan, 3 men were killed in a rural property shooting on November 5th. RCMP responded around 12:30 p.m., but despite emergency efforts, all 3 victims were pronounced dead at the scene. So Madison Jimmy, 25, a mother from Thunderchild First Nation, was arrested the same day. She's facing second-degree murder charges in connection with the death of 28-year-old Tonio Cantel from Island Lake First Nation. And then the other victims included a 46-year-old man from Turtleford and a 30-year-old man from Big Island Lake Cree Territory. RCMP confirmed all 3 died from gunshot wounds and multiple firearms were seized. Jimmy claims she acted in self-defense. She said the shooting happened during a violent confrontation on the farm where Cantel had allegedly shot her fiancé and then threatened her and another woman. According to Madison, she felt she had no choice but to shoot Cantel. After the incident, she drove with Cantel's girlfriend and a friend to the RCMP detachment to surrender. Cantel had a criminal record, including gang-related offenses, while Jimmy has a minor criminal history, a DUI, and a common assault charge. Her family emphasizes that she's not connected to gangs and hopes her circumstances are considered in court. So, yeah, that's self-defense of 3 people. Although, admittedly, if somebody else got shot, then
Yeah, it just seems like it was a wild shootout.
that's all, pretty crazy.
Yeah. But also, it seems like it's seemingly like what she did was in defense because she drove to the RCMP unit
And
with
surrendered,
the
yeah.
guy's girlfriend. That she killed.
Yes, it's
Yeah, it's a strange one.
yeah. So we'll see if they ended. Well, did they end up laying charges on her? I guess then, or
They haven't. I think they charged her.
okay,
But with
second-degree murder. Okay, so
But just with one. But they never
Yeah.
said who killed the other one. So that's why I think it must have just been wild.
yeah,
shooting.
that's possible too. So yeah, because yeah.
Yeah, it's strange. This one, we're still not sure if the victim and the accused are related, but it seems pretty likely. Police have not confirmed the relationship. So in North Edmonton, a weapons-related incident turned deadly on the evening of November 29th. Edmonton police were called to an area near 160A Avenue and 83rd Street at 8:41 p.m. When officers arrived, they found 22-year-old Jeremy Poon had died under suspicious circumstances. A 53-year-old woman was also seriously injured and rushed to hospital with life-threatening injuries. The Edmonton Police Homicide Section is leading the investigation. Authorities say the suspect, the injured woman, and the deceased man were all known to each other. An autopsy conducted on December 1st confirmed that Jeremy Poon died of multiple stab wounds and his death is being ruled a homicide. Wesley Poon, 25, has been charged with second-degree murder, attempted murder, and arson endangering life. And police are asking anyone with information about the case to contact the Edmonton Police Service at 780-423-4567.
Yeah, like it's possible there's 2 Poons in that, but they're pretty close in age. So like you definitely
Yeah.
wonder if they were siblings or something. So
Yeah, it seems likely.
all right, in Binscarth, Manitoba, a deadly dispute has ended in a manslaughter charge. So on the night of November 3rd, around 10:55 p.m., Russell RCMP responded to a call from an unresponsive woman at a local home. Officers found a 53-year-old woman suffering from life-threatening stab wound. Despite the efforts of emergency medical services, she was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the scene. Her death has been ruled a homicide. Investigators determined that the incident involved a dispute between the victim and another local woman. On November 6, 53-year-old Sheila Mills, also from Binscarth, was arrested and charged with manslaughter. So, yeah, they're both 53 years old. The investigation was led by RCMP Major Crime Services with support from the Manitoba West District Crime Reduction Enforcement Support Team, among other units. Authorities say the women knew each other and the case remains under investigation. And yeah, I guess it's interesting that she was only charged with manslaughter. But
Yeah, and it was a stabbing. It wasn't.
yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it was a fight. I don't know.
Or maybe she was washing the dishes.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It's weird.
All right. Yeah. Now we come to the part of the monthly podcast where we look at notable updates on cases that we've covered before. So Toronto police have identified, or not always though, Toronto police have identified Kenneth Smith as the serial killer responsible for the decades-old murder of 3 women in the city. So the victims include 25-year-old Christine Prince, 23-year-old Claire Sampson, and 41-year-old Gracelyn Greenridge. Prince was last seen in 1982 and later found that day in the Rouge River. Sampson, a sex worker, was killed in 1983. Her body discovered north of Barrie, and in 1997, Greenridge was stabbed to death in her apartment. While DNA evidence existed at the time, technology limitations prevented the cases from being connected until 2016. Using investigative genetic genealogy, police were able to identify Smith's familial DNA and confirm him as the perpetrator. Smith died in 2019 at age 72. Smith lived and worked in the Toronto area during the years the murders occurred and was known to police with a history of sexual assault convictions and multiple incarcerations prior to each of the homicides. Authorities believe the murders were crimes of opportunity and warned there may be additional victims. Police continue to seek information from the public and are re-examining cold cases linked to Smith. So it's interesting, I guess. Smith, they hadn't charged him with murder before, though, I suppose,
Yeah.
like other like sex crimes and that, but never an actual murder in that. So, and I guess him killing 3 different people does make him a serial killer, I think, isn't that?
Yeah, I think.
3?
Yeah, I think it is 3.
It's 3. So it's interesting that, like, I wonder, like, how many, like, it doesn't seem like there's too many serial killers anymore. Just it's too hard to get away with, I think. But
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's 0. I'm just saying it's probably less. So
Yeah, definitely less. Charges upgraded after Niagara Falls altercation leads to death. So in Niagara Falls, what started as a motel parking lot altercation has ended in tragedy. On June 27th, 2025, Niagara Regional Police responded to a report of a fight near Montrose and Chippewa Creek Road. Officers found 2 men involved in a physical confrontation. 1 man suffered a serious head injury and was rushed to hospital outside of the region. At the time, 55-year-old Gerald Fillion was arrested and charged with aggravated assault. Tragically, the victim, who was 57, remained hospitalized for several months and passed away on October 22nd, 2025. Following his death, the Niagara Regional Police Homicide Unit and local detectives took over the case. And as the investigation progressed, Fillion's charge was upgraded to manslaughter, reflecting seriousness of the incident and its fatal outcome.
So yeah, he basically died 4 months after the initial
Yeah.
attack and that. So, all right. All right, on to the next one. So in Saint Zotique, I don't know if that's pronounced correctly, Quebec, a teenage girl has been sentenced to the maximum use sentence for a role in a 2023 contract killing.
This seems wild to me.
Yeah, yeah. So the victim, 16-year-old Isaiah Leopold Roach, was found dead in April 2023 on 69th Avenue with clear signs of violence. So that's another thing interesting. That's a pretty young guy to have like a contract put out on him.
Yeah, and have another child commit that contract.
So police confirmed that the murder was linked to organized crime. Although the teen did not pull the trigger, the court found that she was actively participated in planning and facilitating the killing, including traveling from Ontario to Quebec to take part. So it wasn't even in the same province.
Yeah.
She had been sentenced to 10 years in youth custody, which includes time in custody, followed by supervised release. So I think it might only be like 7 years that she spends in jail, or maybe it's only even 6. I'm not sure. Authorities also revealed the same girl pleaded guilty to a separate first-degree murder in Ontario, where she admitted luring a man from the West Island in Montreal to his death.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yes.
trouble.
Sometimes you wonder about the Young Offenders Act. So 2 adult men were also charged in that Ontario case, with one pleading guilty to manslaughter and the other having his murder charge withdrawn. So that's pretty wild. Because
Yeah.
oftentimes we've seen where the male will get charged with first degree murder and the female often only manslaughter that. But in this
Yeah.
case, this 16-year-old girl gets the first degree charge and pled guilty to it. And the other 2 guys, one had the charge withdrawn and the other one had the manslaughter. So that's
Yeah.
unusual. The case highlights the involvement of organized crime and the serious consequences for youth who participated in violent crimes. So
But not that serious.
not that
10
serious.
years?
No, yeah. The last 3 is supervised release. So she's not in jail.
And that's
Or prison.
one murder and an accomplice to
Yeah.
murder. Canada is confusing.
And we'll never know who she is either.
No.
So she could be like working with you.
Ugh. In Banff, Alberta, the 2022 stabbing of 27-year-old Ryden Brogden has reached a legal conclusion. So the incident occurred in the early hours of September 3rd at a local drinking establishment on Banff Avenue. Brogden from Foothills County was found with severe stabbing injuries and later died in hospital. Initially, 20-year-old John Sproul from Lake County, BC, was charged with second-degree murder. During the trial, Sproul claimed that Brogden had attacked him first, pushing and punching him, and that he acted in the heat of the moment. Sproul admitted to stabbing Brogden after being pinned against a picnic table during the altercation. In March 2025, Sproul was convicted of a lesser charge of manslaughter, and recently a Calgary judge sentenced him to 2 years conditional sentence in the community, followed by 2 years probation, meaning he will not serve any additional jail time.
Do we know if he was out on bail at all, or?
I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, so obviously it basically seems like a fight and that. And
Yeah.
And probably, could argue it was kind of self-defense in that, but I guess it can end up being as manslaughter as well. So, all right. The next one, the 2022 shooting death of Toronto rapper Jai Parker Ford, known by his stage name Avaboy SK, has now resulted in a first-degree murder conviction. So Toronto police were called to an apartment building near Lawrence Avenue East and Orton Park Road in the early morning hours of December 16th, 2022. Inside the building, officers found 20-year-old Parker Ford suffering from a gunshot wound. He was rushed to hospital but later died from his injuries. In April 2023, police arrested 18-year-old Brianna Warner and charged her with first-degree murder. Investigators allege she lured Parker Ford to the Scarborough apartment building where the shooting took place. In October 2025, a jury found Warner guilty of first-degree murder. During the trial, jurors heard secretly recorded conversations between Warner, her mother, and an undercover officer posing as a friend. In those recordings, Warner admitted to the killing and said she used a gun belonging to her ex-boyfriend and referenced writing a rap song about the incident. So, I don't know. You kill someone and then somebody wants to be your buddy later on?
Seems suspicious.
You got to be suspicious. All right. Prosecutors also presented Snapchat messages and surveillance footage, arguing Warner's own words and actions proved the murder was planned. Her defense claimed the confession was fabricated for attention and based on information already circulating online. After several days of testimony and jury deliberations, Warner was convicted and automatically sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. The court is scheduled to reconvene to hear victim impact statements for Parker Ford's family, who are visibly emotional when the verdict was delivered. And yeah, with a first-degree murder conviction, no parole before 25 years at the least. So
Yeah, and at least she was 18.
yeah, she would have been 17 years old in 364 days. Then
Yeah.
she would have served a lot less.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the December 2025 roundup of homicides in Canada.
November.
No, it's November. Oh, sorry. Okay, November. So yeah, just to reiterate, so our website is homicidecanada.com. We try to have a page for every homicide, also pages for all the provinces and major municipalities, even some of the smaller ones now. Our email is info@homicidecanada.com. You can tell us if we missed a murder in your municipality or province, or if there's anything else you want to say. Our Twitter is homicide_Canada. Our DMs are always open. And you can look us up on Facebook or Instagram and just search Homicide Canada, and it should come up.